story of this bill is. But Joe, and you mentioned earlier today, Joe, that people are still debating what's in the bill. You and I had a debate about what's in the bill the last time I was here, and I just want to settle that debate now. I said that the employer mandate, the individual mandate was not enforceable, and they had no intention of enforcing it. And I'm going to read to you page 331 of the House bill that Bill Delahunt voted on. On the enforcement provision.
Let me stop you here really quickly, Lawrence, before you do that, because I got off of the air, and as you know, my favorite phrase over the past 3 months has been Lawrence ODonnell said, and I get absolutely abused for suggesting that this was not enforceable. And yet, I knew you would have a page number, so read it to me now.
It's a quick read. You're gonna love the language. This is on enforcement. It says
it better be simple.
Waiver of criminal penalties. In the this is now if you don't get health insurance and then the government hits you with the tax that you're supposed to pay because you don't have health insurance. What happens if you don't pay the penalty tax? And here's what happens. In the case of any failure by a taxpayer to timely pay any penalty imposed by this section, such taxpayer shall not be subject to any criminal prosecution or penalty with respect to such failure. It also goes on to say that you cannot put a lien, so there's no civil penalties. In other words, the penalty for not paying the penalty is absolutely nothing. Now imagine if you lived in a state where the penalty for not paying your speeding ticket was nothing. Imagine what the driving would be like in that state.
You know, I am but a simple country lawyer out on the Cape. I've been there for 25 years. It's
definitely simple.
The Cape. No, I am definitely simple. Bill Delahunt, we still have.
I remember that page.
You were reading it by candlelight. You read none of this.
I read it on the Cape, actually.
Seriously, Bill. Lawrence O'Donnell has said this last time. I went out, started talking about it, and was absolutely pilloried by people saying, of course there are penalties in there. The president says there's penalties in there. But now Lawrence reads it. There's not. We're still debating what's in the bill. What happened? Why do people still not know exactly what's contained in this health care bill?
Because it's a massive piece of legislation. And
by the way, good job on that.
Thank you.
I mean, you vote on stuff.
Let me tell you, I was so tired from reading that bill. And I finally voted on it.
Yeah, about as tired as the bailout bill and the...
I voted against the bill.
The stimulus bill.
I voted for the stimulus bill.
You read every page of that as well.
I did. And actually, I think the stimulus bill is starting to demonstrate that it's...
Yeah, great. Let's talk about the health care bill. So the health care bill, though...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, so Lawrence says there are no penalties. But I thought there was a mandate. There were going to be penalties, and the IRS was going to enforce them. But they're now criminal penalties. There's no civil penalties. You can't get a lien against you.
Well, you know, like...
This is an open invitation for people like you and me.
I think Americans, okay, by and large, will comply with the law.
Oh, Lord.
We should...
Lawrence O'Donnell. So...
Lawrence, do you agree with that?
So there is a mandate, but we're just counting on just the good feelings of the American people. You betcha. Yeah. That's going to happen, isn't it, Lawrence?
We should have we should have sound effects here this morning because what Lawrence has done
it's the only provision ever written into the tax code which specifies that there is absolutely no penalty if you don't pay your penalty. We've never written anything like it before. And the reason it happened, Joe, as you know, is there actually were some pretty strong penalties in the early drafts of this in the Senate Finance Committee. And what happened is the political pressure came along and said, wait a minute, you're going to send people to jail if they don't, buy health insurance? And in order to prove that they weren't going to do that, they ended up completely removing any penalty. This is like nothing else on your tax return. If you don't comply with this piece, there's nothing they can do, and they can't take it out of your withholding in the future. There's just no way to enforce it. And I do think that when the public finds out there's no way to enforce it, there is no mandate, that the CBO projection of picking up 16 million people through this mandate is probably overstated.
So they played with numbers, CBO, Bill Delahunt. Where do we go?
The CBO played with numbers?
Yeah, you believe that? You know, I can tell you're retiring because you're just phoning it in right now. Now you're admitting, for those of us that know it, that he's not reading the bill. No, he's making fun of CBO.
I remember him calling me about page 331 right after you read it.
We had a long conversation?
Yeah. Just
before my announcement?
Yeah. You said I'm out of here after reading Pete's
You have brought
71.
nothing more to the table than a diamond-studded Red Sox T-shirt, which I thank you for.
And a monkey.
Looks like it's going to be tight. Yeah, it's attractive. And a monkey
Can I
in the
leave
back.
Well, you can leave. This is a
You're
memorable
free.
day because what Lawrence just did is he presented the American public with the Morning Joe gift of the day.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want. You don't have to pay. There's no penalty, nothing. Forget it.
This is definitely a Scarborough rule.
Yeah.
No penalty.
Right.
No penalties.
No.
Hey, you know what? Live and let live. I'm okay, you're okay.
Hey, it's fine by me.
That's how they think out on the Cape. That's why
It is
I'm
so
running.
good to see you in person. Thank you for coming.
Can I come back?
Yes, we would love
I need
it.
a job.
Could you come back?